Oh, we're recording. Oh, you want me to introduce me?
What, full name? Government name?
Okay. Hi, I'm Andrea Fusco.
Hi, Jacob. Pace University student.
I'm Jason Valenzuela.
Hi, I'm Jacob. Daccaret. Fuck.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelly Warbrick.
I'm Jacob. I go to Pace University.
You just watched what movie?
In Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost, I don't remember.
I've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark 2.5 times.
I was
Okay.
forced to watch it.
So, do you know what a narrative is?
What is a narrative?
I have a vague idea of what a narrative is.
Yeah, I guess.
No.
I believe so.
I'm so tired.
Boy, I'm in school again.
Like the storyline and everything, like the whole makeup of it.
I believe that's when someone tells a story as you're watching the movie. Oh boy, I get a gold star.
Do you know what specifically a film narrative is?
No.
I don't know.
I'm guessing it's the story told through film.
Do you know what the narrative of Indiana Jones is?
See, this is hard because I fall asleep watching it every single time. We gonna get crazy, guys. Mr. Jones.
So it starts with him looking for this artifact.
It's the golden thing first, and then he meets up with Marion, and they're trying to...
Gets it, loses it.
Was trying to find his artifacts because big shot in the industry. But you want to know who else is trying to find?
He's supposed to find this other artifact.
The Tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant. That's right, the Nazis.
College professor who, in search for his artifacts, runs into...
The Nazis were looking for it.
stop the Nazis from digging up the Ark of the Covenant.
Since it took place, I believe, during World War II, that era, he kept running into Nazis.
There's like the whole love story as well as a subplot, all that.
How about Indiana Jones and his adventures of trying to find various artifacts while escaping from Nazis? A lot of snakes and boulders. Thank you.
And do you think it was a well-told story?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think it did a good job of telling the story. I mean, it could have been a little, faster paced maybe. I thought it was a little slow in some points.
Yeah. Most movies I have to watch once or two or three times to get everything, but that's fine.
The whole movie to me felt a little goofy.
The whole thing was ridiculous, but that was the fun part of it.
Do you know what cinematography is?
Not exactly.
I believe so.
Sort of. Like I know what it is, but like I don't know if I can explain it.
Not really.
Just like the whole art of like making like film and stuff like that. Like what goes into it, all that.
Cinematography, I believe that's the person who puts the whole picture together.
Do you know any specific scenes that did a good job with cinematography that made them more interesting to watch, kept you at the edge of your seat?
Where Marion's trapped in the whatever the basket is, and make it seem like she's still in it when they put her in the truck, and then there's like all like the crowd running. Like I think that's a really good scene because it like confuses you and it like gets you all worked up about it, but then they reveal that she didn't actually explode in the truck.
When Jones was fighting big German dude on that plane trying to save that girl, they kind of put everything in place. So like when he was moving the plane, he hit the gas tank, gas was leaking, and everything was kind of falling into place. The German dude got killed.
Indiana Jones is cornered by that big, guess he was in Morocco? I can't remember. I don't know what country he was in. I kind of forget that. But the big guy with the turban with the swords, and he kind of laughed and then just shot him. But it wasn't cornered by him. There was a whole crowd around him, so he was truly like, and everybody was against him, and he shot the guy and then ran off. It was terrific. It was like the world against him, and he was able to get out of it. Well, they did multiple shots. So you had his perspective of looking at the guy with the huge sword, and all these people surrounding him like he's not going to get out, and then they pan on him, and he looked at him and just pulled out the gun and went,
I think in the beginning, the first crawl through the dungeon with his pal, and how he was crawling, he was like, wait, don't touch the light, and he's like, the other's just like, why? And then he goes like, whoo, and then he hits the light, and then the dead body comes out, and there's like a scream, and you're like, ah! I think that was cool, like the use of lighting, because it's real dark and moody, and then breaking it up.
The one thing that I do know is was that scene where like the guy's like sets up like the whole sword fight, and then he just takes out the gun and shoots him. That wasn't scripted. That he wasn't actually supposed to do that. That he was like sick that day and was just like not feeling it, so he just took out the gun and shot the guy.
There were a lot of shots when they were in the jungles that they would like start at one part and you saw the camera sort of slide across the scene, and then there were others where when they were like digging through the caves and dungeons and stuff. It would be behind them, in front of them to catch the reaction.
The camera, like everything, kind of like they set in place for this exact movement, and then kind of like everything fell in place for a big explosion. I kind of saw it from the beginning when the scene started that that's probably what was going to happen.
I remember there was one particular scene where it happened like 2 or 3 times in the movie, where Harrison Ford would be really dark, but then he'd walk into the light so that you see who he is, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's Indiana Jones! Oh my gosh!" And then there would be times where it looked like it was just a silhouette of him walking through a dungeon or something. If they were in the jungle, there would be like the god rays, sort of going through the leaves of the trees and stuff like that.
You know what sound is?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like who doesn't, right?
Do you know what sound is?
Huh?
Huh? What was that? I couldn't hear you. You got that sound? I couldn't. Yeah, I know what sound.
Yes, I know what sound it is. That's how I can hear you.
Was there any specific sounds that stood out to you during the movie?
I think like the ending scenes with like the angel ghost things, I guess that they're like sound and like even just the music in general, like John Williams, like best like what the hell is he? A composer. Like his music for all like the classic movies is just, it makes the movie, I think.
So you got the boulder rolling after him, you hear it coming throughout that whole scene.
The screams of those skeletons was kind of a weird one. Even though I don't think they were really screaming, maybe they were in the person's head when they heard it. Or that one girl, when the skeletons fell on her, she kind of heard them screaming. So I don't know if that was her or they were actually...
This music, I noticed before, I made an observation before that George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, wrote, he didn't direct it by Steven Spielberg, but he wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark. And when I was listening to the music, I was like, this is very Star Wars-y, like very orchestral, Dana, like, I can't really, that was more Jaws. They had this thing where every time a skeleton would pop up, there would be a scream, like just a random scream, like the skeleton was screaming at whoever the person was in the scene. So I guess that was intended, I don't know, make me jump or notify me that this is a scary moment. And of course, the classic whip sound.
Do you think the movie would have still been good without sound?
Hell no. Sound makes everything.
I think it keeps you engaged, with all this. I think if in that giant scene where they're trapped and there are a bunch of snakes all around, if you didn't hear all the hisses and like the sound of them trying to attack you, and it would definitely like leave a sense of urgency. Like there wouldn't be that sense of they're in danger. It would just be a bunch of noodles on the ground and he's just trying to break a wall instead of them being snakes.
It's like saying make a picture without paints.
Do you know what editing is?
You say editing without editing in the definition.
Do I know what is?
Editing.
Huh? Editing? Oh, I'm sorry. Can we run that back? Take it out in post. What? Like that? Yes, I know what editing is.
Oh, editing is cutting it to make the movie, to take out the raw scenes, the outtakes, blah, blah, blah. Editing makes the movie.
Making of the movie, like post-production, putting all the stuff together, making decisions on what should be included, what should not be included.
It's where you kind of put everything together, you shorten a movie or you fix some things in it.
Did you notice any specific editing that kind of like stood out to you that you thought was cool?
When the German guy got killed by the propellers, they kind of, switched the camera to where the blood was.
Do you think if there wasn't editing, it would be a bad picture?
Of course. They had to edit that because there was just so many things they had to do to make certain parts of the movie happen.
Do you think if the cuts weren't put together well, or all the shots weren't put together well, it would have affected the movie?
Oh, definitely. Like, you'd be like, this is 100% an amateur film. Like, you'd be watching it, and I feel like bad editing would take you out of the immersion of the film, because once you notice that something's wrong, you sort of subconsciously take yourself out of something.
Like, me drawing stick figures and saying, this is what happened.
Do you know what that is?
Missing scene.
Miss and scene.
Oh, it's like 3 words. Okay, yeah. Sure.
Do you know?
No, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
No, but you're going to tell me.
No.
How you transfer him from the college professor into Indiana Jones, you know, first of all, the whip. I want to know how a college professor learned how to use a whip like that. The Nazis, how they dressed them, that you knew they were the bad guys. The locals, where they were actually doing the digs. And the drinking scene with what's her name? And the cold, I don't know where they were. I kind of know, but I can't think of the name right now. But yeah.
I like all the characters. Like Marion's like such a strong like female character in the movie, and I think that plays well against Indiana Jones' character because he's also like a strong. All right. He's also like a strong character, so like their back and forth makes really good like character development and stuff with it.
Yeah, there were tons of, I would believe, made up sets. Like, you know, the dungeon, like I was talking about the snake scene before. I'm sure not all those snakes were real. And even if there were, I guess that would be a prop, sort of. The whip that I was about to say Han Solo. Indiana Jones uses.
We're not watching Star Wars.
But, you know, Harrison Ford.
We're not watching Star Wars.
That Harrison Ford uses. That's a prop. He swings on a vine in a couple scenes. Yeah, there were a lot of props and different scenery that you went through, like the jungle, the desert.
Do you think, like, without these character traits, the movie would have been interesting?
No, honestly, like their whole like persona definitely like makes the movie like I said, like Marion's strong female character against Indiana Jones, like witty and like strong personality too, and then the whole like love story with them. I think that definitely makes the movie interesting.
So, did you learn anything new today?
Mise en scene, a new word.
Sort of figured out what film narrative and how that affects and how props, you know, help immerse a viewer into a scene. You pointed that out.
Nothing.
Because I just saw the movie.
I learned what was it, mise en scene is.
Whatever that word was, it starts with an M.
Fare thee well, O ye film people.
Go watch Indiana Jones if you haven't, at Michael Simon. Go watch Indiana Jones.
Thanks for watching.
Alright, I do
Watch Indiana Jones. Subscribe.
Hi. Stop.
That's it. Cut.